There was once a man who believed goodness would protect him. He forgave too quickly, gave too much, and stayed too long in places that drained his soul. He thought that by being kind, the world would return his kindness. But the world is not a mirror. It is a battlefield. And on that battlefield, the good man bleeds first. I watched him fall slowly, not because he was weak, but because he kept believing that empathy could fix cruelty, that love could reform betrayal, that patience could soften manipulation. He thought his light would heal others. But all it did was attract the hungry, the ones who saw his softness as opportunity. They took, they lied, they drained, and when there was nothing left, they called him too emotional and walked away without guilt. Years later, I met him again, but he wasn't broken anymore. He was quiet, sharp, unapologetically calculated. And he told me something that rewired my entire mind. The world didn't change. I did. I stopped being easy to break. That sentence haunted me because it wasn't just his story. It was mine. And it's yours, too. Right now, there are two versions of you. The first kind, loyal, endlessly forgiving. The second, silent, focused, untouchable. The first explains itself. The second doesn't need to. Machiavelli once said, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful." He wasn't being cynical. He was being accurate. He understood that kindness without control is not virtue. It's vulnerability waiting to be exploited. So before we begin, understand this truth. The world will not reward your softness. It will test it. It will study it. And if you don't evolve, it will break you. Take a breath. This is where your evolution begins. Not by becoming cruel, but by becoming ruthlessly clear. Number 1, the illusion of goodness. You were taught that goodness protects you, that if you give enough, forgive enough, and love without limits, the universe will return it. But that belief is the first illusion that destroys the strong. Because in reality, the world doesn't reward purity. It rewards perception. And perception belongs to the powerful. You see, people don't see your intentions. They see your results. You may sacrifice everything for them, but to their eyes, you are still the one who bends. And in a world built on dominance and survival, bending looks like weakness, even when it's done in love. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not goodness that makes a man secure, but his ability to command." He understood something modern kindness refuses to admit, that morality without strategy becomes self-destruction disguised as virtue. Look around. The world praises compassion publicly, but privately it bows to control. We admire saints, but we obey the ones who know when to stop forgiving. You call it being a good person. They call it being predictable. And predictability is what predators look for. I've seen good men destroy themselves trying to heal those who enjoyed being broken. They thought patience was power, but patience without discernment is just slow surrender. They believed loyalty would make others stay. But loyalty given to the ungrateful is not noble. It's naive. They mistook their pain for purpose. And in doing so, they turned their own hearts into weapons against themselves. Here's the dark psychology behind it. The moment you make kindness your identity, you become easy to manipulate because anyone who can trigger your empathy controls your actions. They don't need to threaten you. They just need to make you feel guilty. And guilt is a perfect leash. That's why Machiavelli advised rulers to appear merciful, not to be merciful. He knew the difference between being good and being effective. To him, virtue was not a feeling. It was a form of strategy. He said, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. For all can see, but few can feel." Meaning, the world doesn't care how pure your heart is. It only cares how powerful your presence feels. The illusion of goodness is seductive because it makes you feel morally superior. But morally superior people rarely hold power. They carry truth in their hearts but chains on their hands because they think being good makes them safe. It doesn't. It makes them visible to those who feed on good intentions. There's nothing wrong with kindness. But kindness without control is a currency that loses value every time you spend it. People respect what they fear losing. And if your goodness comes without limits, they stop fearing to lose you. So ask yourself this: are you truly kind, or are you just afraid of being disliked? Because real kindness is selective. It requires wisdom. It knows when to close the door. It knows when to disappear. It knows when to say enough. Machiavelli once said, "He who builds on the people builds on mud." 1. Revest and fade in the good 9, because the crowd's morality shifts with the wind. One day they praise your compassion, the next they exploit it. So stop trying to please the mob. Stop trying to prove that your goodness deserves recognition. You owe no one your explanation, your forgiveness, or your peace. The world doesn't need another good man. It needs a man who knows when to stop being one. Take a breath. This is where the illusion ends and strategy begins. Number 2, the psychology of weakness. Weakness doesn't begin in the body. It begins in the mind the moment you start explaining your pain to people who benefit from it. Most people aren't weak because they lack power. They are weak because they misplace it. They hand it away piece by piece to every opinion, every apology, every false connection that keeps them chained to validation. You see, there's a hidden hunger inside every human being, the hunger to be understood. It's the softest spot in even the strongest hearts. You tell yourself, if they just understood me, they wouldn't hurt me. But Machiavelli would smirk at that thought. He wrote, "Men will sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their inheritance." He meant people don't care about your feelings. They care about what they can take from them. Weakness lives in the gap between what you hope people will do and what they actually do. It's the fantasy that decency will be returned, that fairness exists, that loyalty will be met with loyalty. But in the eyes of power, expectation is a liability because whoever can disappoint you controls you. Think of it this way. When someone disrespects you and you explain yourself, you've already lost a frame. When you beg to be seen, you make visibility your prison. When you try to convince people to value you, you teach them that your value depends on their permission. That is how strong people become slaves. Not through violence, but through emotional dependence disguised as virtue. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Weakness is that unconscious need to be approved. It's the hidden contract you sign when you trade your authenticity for peace. And every time you silence your instincts to please others, you reinforce that contract. Machiavelli saw it centuries ago that morality without self-respect creates servants, not rulers. He warned a man who trusts everyone is already deceived because trust without testing is not virtue. It's vulnerability begging to be betrayed. You want to know why the world breaks good people? Because good people don't believe it can. They think the world operates on the same logic as their heart. It doesn't. It operates on fear, power, and perception. And when you refuse to understand that, you become its instrument. That's why the psychology of weakness always begins with attachment. Attachment to image, attachment to fairness, attachment to the need to be liked. You can't control what you're attached to because the moment you cling to something, you give authority over your emotions. A Machiavellian mind has no such attachment. He sees through emotion like a strategist studying terrain. He knows that mercy without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. He doesn't react, he recalibrates. He doesn't chase closure, he creates distance. He doesn't need to be understood because he understands himself. And that is the line that separates the powerless from the powerful. The powerless explain, the powerful observe, the powerless seek approval, the powerful study reactions, the powerless hope, the powerful act. Weakness isn't the absence of strength, it's a refusal to evolve. And the moment you stop explaining yourself to those who don't listen, you stop feeding the system that profits from your softness. Take a breath. Let silence replace justification. Because the second you stop needing to be understood, you start to become dangerous. Number 3, the shift to ruthlessness. No one is born ruthless. You become ruthless the day the pain stops asking for permission to be heard. It happens quietly. One betrayal too many. One apology that meant nothing. One sleepless night where you finally understand that being good was never the goal. Being respected was at the moment your kindness starts to rot into awareness. You stop seeing the world through the lens of morality and start seeing it through the lens of consequence. You stop asking why did they hurt me and start asking why did I let them. This is a shift. Machiavelli wrote about the metamorphosis from prey to player. He said a prince must learn how not to be good and use that knowledge when necessary. That sentence doesn't glorify cruelty. It exposes reality. Because in a world where power disguises itself as virtue, the only sin is naivety. To be ruthless is not to be heartless. It is to possess a heart that no longer negotiates its own value. It's when your empathy becomes selective, your words deliberate, your silence strategic, and your absence unforgettable. You start moving differently. You speak less, but everything you say carries weight. You don't seek closure, you deliver consequences. You don't react to disrespect, you end it, not with rage, but with calm detachment that terrifies the manipulative. Because nothing scares a deceitful more than someone who no longer bleeds when cut. You begin to see through people like glass. Their charm no longer seduces you. Their guilt no longer binds you. Their approval no longer defines you. You've outgrown the emotional currency they use to buy control. This transformation doesn't come through meditation or forgiveness. It comes through fire, through loss, through the humiliation of realizing how many times you handed your crown away to people who never deserved to touch it. Machiavelli warned rulers of the same trap. He who allows himself to be deceived is deserving of deception. You understand now your suffering wasn't punishment. It was education. It taught you where your boundaries should have been drawn. It showed you who thrives on your weakness. And most importantly, it revealed who you are when there is nothing left to lose. Ruthlessness is clarity after chaos. It's when you stop chasing fairness and start mastering control. You learn that silence is not passive, it's positioning. That distance is not avoidance, it's dominance. That indifference is not numbness, it's emotional sovereignty. This is a point where your softness evolves into strength. You stop being a victim of feeling and become a strategist of energy. You no longer need revenge because nothing anyone does can touch the fortress you've built within yourself. That's what Machiavelli meant by power. Not control over others, but control over self. To be ruthless is to become ungovernable by emotion, untouchable by manipulation, and immune to chaos. When you reach this state, you don't announce it. You don't post about your peace. You carry it quietly, heavily, with purpose. People will sense it before you speak. They'll look into your eyes and realize the person who used to beg for understanding is gone. Take a breath. Let that sink in. This is not the end of your empathy. It's the beginning of your authority. Number 4, the 8 laws of inner power. Machiavelli believed that every human carries 2 selves, one that lives for approval and one that rules in silence. To awaken the ruler, you must obey the 8 laws of inner power. Each law is a weapon forged in pain, cooled in awareness. Law 1, withdraw from the ungrateful. Your weakness was never your heart. It was where you placed it. The ungrateful drain, not because they're evil, but because they are bottomless. Every time you rescue those who refuse to rise, you sink to meet them. Machiavelli warned, men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful. Stop confusing loyalty with duty. Your energy is not a charity. It's capital. Withdraw it from those who feed on your light. Let absence be your correction. Detachment is discipline. Law 2, transmute pain into power. Pain is not your enemy. It is your instructor. The powerless drown in pain because they seek fairness. The powerful study it. They ask, what is this teaching me about control? Machiavelli wrote, never waste the opportunity offered by a good crisis. Every heartbreak is data. Every betrayal maps your blind spot. When you analyze instead of agonize, you become indestructible. Pain is information. Law 3, stop explaining yourself. Understanding is not owed, it is earned. The more you explain, the more leverage you give. In dark psychology, to reveal motive is to surrender mystery. Power does not justify itself. It simply exists. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Let your silence create tension. Let misunderstanding protect your depth. Mystery breeds respect. Silence speaks louder than pleading. Law 4, detach, don't beg. Attachment is dependence wearing perfume. Begging for attention shrinks your worth. When someone disrespects you, vanish. When they pull away, observe, don't chase. Machiavelli taught, he who is not master of himself cannot be master of others. Detachment is rebellion in its purest form. It kills the manipulator's oxygen. Your reaction, I choose peace over people. Law 5. Build boundaries like a fortress. A heart without armor is a target. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates that filter chaos. Every no you speak clearly becomes a wall against corruption. Forgiveness without consequence invites repetition. He who allows himself to be deceived is deserving of deception. Protect your space like a fortress. Inside it, live your clarity. My boundaries protect my peace. Ours says there. Law 6. Master the art of silence. Silence is dominance disguised as calm. Most talk to prove value. The wise stay quiet to observe truth. Never reveal all your thoughts, for it makes you predictable. When you say nothing, others expose everything. Silence creates tension. Tension creates respect. My silence controls chaos. Law 7. Never show total loyalty. Loyalty is power only when it's elective. Unconditional devotion turns into dependency. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man ought never make himself depend wholly on one person. Give loyalty like a sword. Sharp, deliberate, retractable. Keep your freedom sacred. Predictability kills respect. Mystery preserves it. Loyalty is strategy, not emotion. Law 8. Become untouchable. This is the final evolution. Untouchable does not mean emotionless. It means complete. When no insult pierces you, no praise controls you. He who is master of himself is master of all. You stop chasing approval. You move through storms without flinching. You rule not by dominance but by detachment. That is sovereignty. That is the Machiavellian mind fully awakened. Nothing can break me now. 8 laws, 8 awakenings. Each one burns away a version of you that was too easy to break. You don't need the world to fear you. You need the world to hesitate before testing you, because hesitation is respect. Take a breath. You've learned control, but now you must learn reflection, because every power, if left unchecked, can corrupt its owner. That is where the next transformation begins. Number 5, pain, detachment, and silence. Pain is the first teacher that doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't negotiate. It simply reveals who you really are when there's nothing left to protect. Most people run from pain. They drown it in noise and distractions and apologies. But the Machiavellian mind studies it. He treats pain as an instructor sent by fate, because what hurts you is what still controls you. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man learns more from misfortune than from comfort." He wasn't glorifying suffering. He was explaining transformation. Comfort breeds blindness. Pain awakens perception. When betrayal shatters you, don't ask why me. Ask what illusion just died. Because every heartbreak removes someone who is blocking your evolution. Every failure exposes a truth your pride refused to see. And every wound once understood becomes a weapon. The powerful don't seek fairness. They seek advantage. They don't waste tears proving innocence. They build strategy out of ashes. They use pain to sharpen their intuition until they can smell deceit before it speaks. That's what detachment truly is. Not coldness, but clarity. When you detach, you stop needing closure. You stop begging for explanations. You let distance do the talking. Jung called this the process of individuation. The moment the soul withdraws from illusion to find itself. Machiavelli called it survival. 2 different languages, 1 truth. You cannot master life until you can stand alone in silence. Silence in its highest form is not absence, it's authority. It's the invisible aura that makes others question their every word around you. When you learn to hold silence like a blade, you turn tension into control. Because people fear what they cannot read. Machiavelli warned, never reveal all your thoughts, for it makes you predictable. Predictability is death in the game of power. The moment they can anticipate your reaction, they own you. But when you stay silent, they start projecting their own fears onto you. And that confusion becomes your armor. In modern language, this is psychological dominance. The one who speaks least rules most. Because in silence, perception multiplies and perception is reality. So when life hurts you, when people misunderstand you, don't rush to defend. Withdraw, watch, let their noise expose them. Your stillness will speak louder than any argument. Pain forged your awareness. Detachment built your discipline. Silence became your sword. Together, they form the trinity of control. Most people seek peace by avoiding conflict. The wise find peace inside the storm because they learn that true calm isn't found in safety. It's built through fire. When you master this state, no rejection can humiliate you. No betrayal can paralyze you. No loss can break you because everything external becomes information, not identification. The Machiavellian doesn't run from chaos. He walks through it untouched. He doesn't shout that he's strong. He simply is. And his silence terrifies the weak and commands a room. Take a breath. You've learned to suffer without breaking. Now it's time to look into the mirror of Machiavelli himself and see the reflection of the strategist you were meant to become. Number 6, Machiavelli's mirror. You don't meet Machiavelli in a book. You meet him in the silence after betrayal. When the last illusion dies and the truth begins to breathe, that's the moment you realize the person who destroyed you is your own refusal to evolve. The mirror doesn't lie. It shows the part of you that smiled while being used. The part that begged to be seen. The part that said, it's okay when it wasn't. That part is the true enemy. Not the world, not the betrayer, but the softness that refused to defend itself. Machiavelli once said, men should be either treated generously or destroyed, for they take revenge for small injuries, but cannot do so for great ones. He wasn't talking about violence. He was describing strategy. Never do half measures with people. Never half forgive, half trust, or half detach. Power demands precision. When you look into Machiavelli's mirror, you won't see evil. You'll see clarity, a version of yourself stripped of excuses, free from guilt, ready to act with logic where emotion once ruled. This reflection isn't cruel. It's complete. It understands that mercy without memory invites repetition, that empathy without boundaries breeds parasites, and that peace without power is an illusion designed for the obedient. Jung called this the integration of the shadow. When you stop denying your darker instincts and begin using them consciously, because your darkness is not meant to be destroyed. It's meant to be directed. Inside every con man lives a strategist, and inside every strategist a silent storm. To deny one is to weaken both. You must learn to wear the shadow like armor, not like shame. The mirror asks you one question. Are you kind, or are you controlled by your kindness? Because the difference defines your destiny. The world praises gentleness, but only respects restraint. Anyone can forgive. Few can decide who deserves it. That's where Machiavelli's wisdom lives, in the space between intention and impact. To live without strategy is to walk blindfolded through a battlefield. You might survive for a while, but not by choice, by chance. So you must choose. Remain innocent and break repeatedly, or evolve and see the world as it truly is. Ruthlessness, when born from awareness, is mercy for the self. It's saying, I will no longer destroy myself to prove I'm good. It's understanding that peace doesn't come from being loved. It comes from being unshakable. The mirror doesn't offer comfort. It offers control. Because when you face your reflection and stop lying to it, you stop being breakable. You see through manipulation before it arrives. You feel energy before words. And you walk with the quiet confidence and of someone who no longer needs to announce their worth. That's what Machiavelli meant by power. Not to dominate others, but to never again be dominated by illusion. Take a breath. You've faced your reflection. You've seen the strategist beneath the servant. Now it's time to step fully into the light of darkness, where enlightenment no longer glows white, but burns black. Number 7, the dark enlightenment. Enlightenment is not light. It's the ability to walk through darkness and not lose yourself. Most people seek peace and comfort. They think peace means safety, stillness, validation. But real peace comes from mastery. The kind of calm that stands in the middle of the storm and whispers, I am not moved. This is the dark enlightenment. The moment you stop praying for a lighter world and start forging a stronger mind. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology gave a name. He wrote, Fortune is a woman. To be mastered, she must be struck and forced. He was not speaking of cruelty. He was describing dominance over fate, because life does not reward the gentle. It tests them until they evolve. Jung called it the union of opposites. Niccolò called it the birth of the Übermensch, the man beyond man. Machiavelli called it the prince who rules himself before ruling others. Different names, same truth. Power is not granted, it's forged. You see, light without darkness is blindness, and goodness without power is slavery. The world doesn't need more pure hearts. It needs disciplined ones. People who can feel everything but obey nothing except their higher logic. That is the secret of dark enlightenment. To hold compassion in one hand and calculation in the other, and know exactly when to use each. You will be misunderstood for this. They will call you cold. They will call you heartless. But that's only because they measure warmth by weakness. They think kindness must be unconditional. They think forgiveness must be endless. They have not yet learned that mercy has a cost, and that giving it too freely destroys its value. To be enlightened in the dark way is to stop chasing purity and start perfecting precision. It's to understand that control is not suppression, it's selection. You choose what deserves your energy, what deserves your reaction, and what deserves nothing at all. The highest form of morality is mastery. The one who controls himself controls the tone of every room he enters. He doesn't need to raise his voice. His presence commands. His silence shapes outcomes. Because once you understand human nature, its greed, its fears, its patterns, you no longer hate it. You use it. You expect betrayal. You anticipate deception. And in doing so, you transcend them. That's enlightenment. Through shadow, clarity born from chaos. You become what the world cannot manipulate, what emotion cannot govern, what time cannot corrode. Machiavelli would say, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But the modern version of that truth is this: be respected for your control, not love for your availability. When you reach this state, you no longer need to prove your goodness. Your strength becomes your virtue. Your peace becomes your presence, and your detachment becomes divine. The light you were searching for was never outside you. It was buried under the ashes of your old self, the one who believed softness was safety. Now you understand the goal is not to be light. The goal is to burn so steadily in your own fire that no darkness can consume you. Take a breath. You've entered the rarest state of mind. Calm, cold, clear. This is the kingdom of the untouchable. And soon you'll learn to rule it. Number 8, the untouchable mind. When nothing outside you can shake you, you have entered the highest form of power. This is not arrogance. It's sovereignty. The mind that commands itself commands a world. Machiavelli wrote, "He who is wise will be master of himself, for he who is mastered by others is never free." The untouchable mind doesn't need revenge. It doesn't crave validation. It doesn't explain. It watches, calculates, waits, and acts only when it chooses to, not when provoked to. To become untouchable, you must bury your addiction to reaction, because reaction is control surrendered. Every time someone can trigger you, they hold your leash. Every time you argue to be understood, you lower your throne to meet their chaos. The untouchable doesn't chase outcomes. He shapes probabilities. He doesn't seek attention. He pulls it through gravity, because presence, real presence, cannot be faked. It's not in the voice. It's in the stillness behind it. People feel it when you walk into a room. That quiet certainty, that invisible authority. It's the energy of someone who has faced every form of loss and learned to lose nothing within. You don't rise above the world by conquering others. You rise above it by mastering the self that once needed them. The untouchable mind is not emotionless. It feels deeply, but nothing owns it. It observes every wave without drowning. It allows storms to pass through without losing direction. It holds pain in one hand and peace in the other, and uses both as instruments of wisdom. When you reach this point, you realize the game is over. Not because you won, but because you no longer need to play. This is what every manipulator fears. A mind that cannot be baited. A soul that cannot be guilt. A presence that cannot be controlled. Take a breath. You've arrived. This is the Machiavellian state of being. Calm, deliberate, untouchable. You've walked through pain. You've stripped away illusion. You've burned through weakness and built the only fortress that matters, the one within. You no longer seek peace from others. You generate it. You no longer beg for understanding. You embody it. You no longer chase power. You are power disciplined, silent, and complete. Machiavelli once wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does." Finally, today you chose wisdom. You chose control. You chose ruthlessness in its purest form. Awareness, because power doesn't shout. It doesn't prove. It doesn't ask. It simply exists. The world you feared will still test you. People will still betray, provoke, and misunderstand. But they will no longer touch you, because your value no longer depends on their blindness. Your peace is no longer borrowed. Your energy is no longer available to the ungrateful. You become what every manipulator dreads. A mind that cannot be moved. A soul that cannot be owned. A presence that commands without a word. Now repeat these truths. My kindness has limits. My silence speaks power. My detachment protects peace. My discipline defines me. I am untouchable now. If you made it this far, you are no longer the version that bends. You are the version that rules. Share this message and let others remember what the world forgot. Power begins the moment you stop asking for it.